Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, I have a couple of accounts of flying cryptids in this video we're going to be watching today, folks. In it, I will tell you all about these encounters, starting off with this article titled, Southeast Iowa Woman Claims Shadowy Red-Eyed Winged Humanoid Was in Her Home. Now in this account, folks, this woman says that she saw Mothman and that her son, after showing her a picture of Mothman, now thinks that Mothman might be a demon. Either way, folks, let's get into this story now, and then after, we'll read a story involving possibly a cat fairy. Either way, let's start it now. She saw a shadowy winged humanoid that had large bright red eyes that appeared in her home. I was shocked by her statement, so I pulled up an image of Mothman from Google and showed it to her. As I said, this article is very interesting. Either way, let's continue. Good evening. I recently read your book, Mothman Dynasty. It was very intriguing, even though I'm not sure that these winged humanoids truly exist. That is the reason that I'm writing you. My mom had an experience with a creature in 2021 near our small hamlet in southeast Iowa. A little backstory. She is very religious. She reads scripture during church services. She's one of the 2 coordinators in her church group, and within that church group, there's an even smaller group of people who go around the area and conduct exorcisms or deliverances. She's a Pentecostal and involved with revivals as well. She is quite honest and God-fearing. Sounds like, the kind of person that would attract the attention of something demonic, isn't it, folks? But why did this creature take the form of Mothman? This might be a first, folks, but I've said before that some encounters with UFOs might be encounters with demonic beings, and that I sometimes think that these demonic beings are masquerading as aliens just to confuse people. Could this be a similar phenomena with maybe some sort of demonic entity haunting this woman and making, her son think that maybe Mothman is a demonic entity and not an alien? We don't know for sure. I'm just basically, as I said, speculating on the possibility of it, folks. But either way, it is something to consider, I think. But now, folks, let's continue with this story and read the rest of it and see what this woman continued to experience as she saw this thing and how it affected her. She said after coming back from one of these crazy adventures, she saw a shadowy winged humanoid that had large bright red eyes that appeared in her home. I was shocked by her statement, so I pulled up an image of Mothman from Google and showed it to her. She said, yes, I think that's the figure I saw. I wonder if Mothman is just a demon. After reading your book, I doubt that you believe it is a demon, but that is the feeling that I got after she described it to me. So, is it possible that Mothman is something more than an alien being or an interdimensional entity? Or is there really any difference between, that and a demon? I don't know, folks. I think that Mothman does exist, but is he a demon or not? Maybe an angel? Some people would say no, because most people would say Mothman is pretty much the opposite of what an angel would look like. But do they know what biblical angels are supposed to look like? They're supposed to look like, god-awful humanoid or basically eldritch abominations. And while Mothman, he does almost come close to that with some of the signs that people have had of him. In fact, some of the people after these signs continue to have nightmares and basically start shaking in fear when they think about him, much like with other paranormal encounters with basically, cryptids and even encounters with, UFOs. So, is it possible that maybe Mothman is a demon, or is he just some sort of creature that's other than anything else that people can basically have, or could possibly understand? I don't know, folks. I mean, the vote could go either way. Until we have more information, we won't know for sure. But let's get to our next article, folks. Possible large-winged feline humanoid creature encountered in De Luz, California. Indeed, folks, this witness has had a couple encounters with some sort of winged humanoid, and in one account she dares say that it looked like some sort of cat-like humanoid with wings. So maybe this is another encounter with Mothman or something very similar with this cat-like flying humanoid. So let's get into the article now and read exactly what the witness and her husband saw and, try to understand what it actually might be. A couple in De Luz, California encountered an unknown winged humanoid while walking their dogs at night. There we have it, folks. Obviously, the dogs spooked this cat, and I mean this very large winged humanoid cat, into taking action and basically take off into the air, thus frightening the man, woman, and their dogs completely out of their minds. Okay, folks, I know I'm just jesting there, but the fact that this entity was cat-like and they had dogs with them makes me chuckle a bit, because maybe this cat-like flying entity just does not like dogs. Either way, folks, let's get into the account now. My husband and I own 2 dogs and walk them for an hour every evening after work. We live in a rural area, De Las, California, and it can get a bit creepy at night, especially when there's no moon to provide some light, leaving it pitch dark. This happened before daylight savings time changed. My husband and I were on our nightly walk as usual. On a particularly dark night, we were on the most rural part of the trail, about 2 miles from any homes, when we suddenly felt an unnerving sensation. Just then, nature went silent. The frogs completely stopped croaking, and the bug noises ceased altogether, plunging us into silence. I said, "That's weird. There must be a predator nearby." Seconds after I uttered those words, we heard the sound of huge wings flapping, as if something was about to land. We felt the wind generated by this massive creature. We heard an enormous sycamore tree branch crack under the weight of this entity landing on it. I can't even describe how powerful the wings were. It was a calm, still night with no wind, yet the wings created enough force to actually blow my long hair around. Remember, folks, just before this entity made its presence known, all the animals in the area just suddenly ceased making noises. Always remember that, folks. If that happens, you should probably be wary that something like this is in the area and might, make itself known to you. Either way, let's get back to the article. We both sensed the presence of something evil and menacing. We started running, and neither of us was brave enough to look back. Just then, we saw it flying overhead. It wasn't a large bird. Its wings flapped in an unnatural way as it lurched upwards. My husband is a true skeptic, but couldn't rationalize or explain what we had just seen. He even shared the experience with his co-workers and friends. Since then, he has outright refused to walk in that area. This isn't the first time I've seen something in that area. Last summer, I saw a shadow figure that was blacker than black, resembling a large cat-human hybrid, emerge from the creek and climb up the massive tree before disappearing. It appeared to have wings. After that, we experienced a series of 3 really bad events. That's a story for another time, but my point is that there is something in that area. Any thoughts on what that could have been? The week it happened, I had been telling my husband about shapeshifters, so I wonder if I attracted something. I have abilities as it is and have been susceptible to experiences like this, but this truly freaked us out. Indeed, folks, maybe the witness did somehow draw the attention of this entity upon her and her husband. Why? Because it really reminds me of Skinwalker folklore. Why? It's said that in Skinwalker folklore that if you talk about skinwalkers, they know you're talking about them, and it will draw their attention to you. So maybe with her talking about shapeshifters, this brought the attention of this entity down upon her, and decided to basically scare her and her husband and make it known that it's out there. Maybe, folks. It's an interesting idea, but is that really what happened here? Remember, folks, this wasn't this woman's only experience with the paranormal. Remember, she did say that she saw a cat-like winged humanoid, so maybe this entity was already in the area and well aware of the witness. And when she did talk about it, this indeed drew the attention of this entity back to her, and it basically wanted her to know that it was still there. Now, the fact that in this second encounter, this woman didn't actually see this entity, she only felt a bunch of wind and other stuff basically just blowing all around her, but the fact that up till that point it was a still evening makes me think that indeed that this encounter did indeed happen. But was it actually some sort of natural phenomena, perhaps? But that wouldn't explain all the sound just suddenly stopping just before the phenomena started, folks. With that fact, it makes me think that indeed that this was the same entity that this woman saw, and it did indeed was making its presence known. But how did this entity know that she had been talking about shapeshifters? And why would this basically draw this entity out like that? Was it basically somehow, watching this couple, perhaps? Maybe. Maybe somehow some sort of natural protector of this area, and basically just, for whatever reason, maybe it was just bored, decided basically just to, spook these people, perhaps. I don't know. It makes as much sense as any other theory that you could possibly come up with, folks. But it does make me think that maybe this entity could have possibly been another, entity very similar to Mothman. Or maybe it was just another, encounter with maybe the cryptoterrestrials, especially with the way it behaved, folks. It seemed rather mischievous to me, and this is the kind of behavior I would expect with an encounter with one of the fairies, or the fae, or, as we know them now, the cryptoterrestrials. But what about all of you, folks? Do you think that's what it was? Either way, though, we're at the end. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back tomorrow with another great video, folks, so make sure to come back again then. Tomorrow by making sure you subscribe to me, folks, and hit that like button for me as well. And please share this video out, because I'm Chris Williams, and as I said, I'll be back again tomorrow, and we will definitely have some more fun.